I think the culprit is instead applying a welfare risk analysis using an open-ended case-by-case standard that makes antitrust incomprehensible to the average judge and jury, rather than using more understandable rules and presumptions. And fourth, that leads to my recommendation, which is that we need more rules and presumptions, but that in judging what rules and presumptions we should have, we should still judge them by the fundamental metric of do they enhance consumer welfare writ large or not. First, why do I think there's under-enforcement? There's a lot of evidence on it. Let me just talk about a little bit of it. We've got studies now that suggest that price fixing has become a profitable business model, that the expected damages from price fixing, given all the obstacles to class action enforcement and collection, are such that the profits exceed the expected damages, plain and simple. We have many merger retrospectives that indicate that we are allowing a lot of mergers that have, in fact, increased prices, notwithstanding sophisticated analysis being applied to each of those mergers. Third, we've got a lot of data to indicate now that we have increases in concentration that have resulted in increased prices and decreased wages. And these aren't just from technology industries. This is just sort of factory-level data as well. And fourth, it seems to me exclusionary conduct cases, if you look at it, are just rarely brought at all, even more rarely successful. And I think whatever you think the appropriate level of enforcement is, it's hard to believe that there's practically zero cases of bad exclusionary conduct going on. Is the consumer welfare standard the problem? No, I don't think so. If we have some merger or some conduct that increases the efficiency of some firms in a way that allows them to compete with other firms, in a way that lowers prices and increases quality, it seems to me we should want that. But more to the point, it also seems to me we could call that pro-competitive. So to say that instead of a consumer welfare standard, we should just focus on whether something complies with the competitive process or not, begs the question of what are we going to call something that advances the competitive process or not. It's not self-defining, the competitive process. And we have never been for just atomistically making every firm as small as possible. We've always recognized that some degree of combination and coordination is a positive. So it seems to me we thus need some standard to figure out what is pro-competitive and what is anti-competitive. The real problem, it seems to me, is not the consumer welfare standard. The real problem is that we're applying it badly. We're allowing conduct that actually harms consumer welfare. We're using doctrines that overemphasize over-deterrence and ignore all the under-deterrence problems that are created. Courts are being bamboozled into thinking that things that harm upstream suppliers of either inputs or labor, somehow that doesn't violate the consumer welfare standard, when in fact the consumer welfare standard simply says we're not going to protect competitors from conduct that actually helps consumer welfare. But that doesn't mean we don't also protect other actors from anti-competitive conduct in cases where consumer welfare cannot